the man on stage last night, he does not want to be held accountable for the real Mitt Romney's decisions and what he's been saying for the last year. And that's because he knows full well that we don't want what he's been selling for the last year.
Last night I thought was a great opportunity for the American people to see two very different visions for the country. And I think it was helpful to be able to describe those visions. I saw the president's vision as trickle-down government. And I don't think that's what America believes in.
President Obama and Governor Romney today on the campaign trail. Obviously, the next debate down in Kentucky, the vice presidential debate. And that should be interesting with Vice President Biden and Congressman Ryan. Vice President Biden was on the trail today as well, talking tax policy. Listen carefully to how he describes the attacks on the Obama-Biden tax plan.
On top of the $1 trillion of spending we've already cut, we're going to ask, yes, we're going to ask the wealthy to pay more. My heart breaks. Come on, man. You know the phrase they always use? Obama and Biden want to raise taxes by $8 trillion. Guess what? Yes, we do in one regard. We want to let that $1 trillion tax cut expire so the middle class doesn't have to bear the burden of all that money going to the super wealthy. That's not a tax raise, right? That's called fairness where I come from.
The potential for a Republican commercial to end at "Yes, we do," Charles, is pretty high.
How much are our guys paying him? Because it isn't enough. I mean, this guy's terrific for us. And the gaffe here isn't only the $1 trillion. It's the part where he calls, was that the super rich, the super billionaires, super wealthy. He's talking about people who earn $250,000 a year, people who own a dry cleaning enterprise, and they are the super wealthy. I mean, he's the gift that Republicans, love, because he's always there. He'll give you something once a week. But on the serious side, because it's hard, and I think people will discount what he says because it's Biden, and they'll say, well, he's just off on his own again. But from Obama, you saw all those quips he was tossing out today. It's what the French call the wit of the staircase, meaning the stuff that you wish you had said, all the witty remarks and rebuttals that you never said at the dinner, but you remember on the way out. So he had all these chances last night, which again shows that he doesn't have a good game when it comes to being, quick and effective on his feet. He's trying to make up for it. But what's going to happen in the second debate between him and Romney, it's going to be a town hall. And that's a different dynamic, how you interact with the audience. And that's where, for example, Bush did badly, Bush won, and Clinton did really well. So that's going to be a challenge. Romney is really good one-on-one. It'll be different in a town hall forum.
By the way, we have the wit of the staircase sometimes here on the panel. When we leave the panel, man, why didn't I say that?
I have the wit of the car every night.
Speaking of the Biden-Ryan setup, as we get ready to head to Kentucky, Kirsten, you listened to that soundbite and you heard Charles just mention it, oh, well, it's just Biden. There are people who look at Joe Biden and say, listen, he really identifies with middle-class folks. He can be gaffe-prone, but he also can be good. His speech at the Democratic Convention was arguably very good. Just setting the table for that debate. We'll have plenty of days to talk about it, but just bouncing off that soundbite.
Yeah. Well, of course, he is good. I mean, that's not the point. The point is that if you were to string together a couple months' worth of his comments, such as the middle class has been buried under the Obama administration, I mean, these are things that I think other people, if they said, would paint a very frightening picture to people of the administration, but he is allowed to continue to do this. So the setup is we go in with the lowest of expectations of him, expecting him to say even crazy things or things that are factually not true. And so it's going to be very difficult for, I think, it'd be difficult for anyone to say decisively that he has done something that has crossed some line that that he shouldn't have crossed.
Judge, I want to end on this one point. We didn't cover it, the controversy about Big Bird. And believe it or not, there are some quarters that are very upset about this. Take a listen to Governor Romney and President Obama today.
I'm sorry, Jim. I'm going to stop the subsidy to PBS. I'm going to stop other things. I like PBS. I love Big Bird. I actually like you too. But I'm not going to keep on spending money on things to borrow money from China to pay for.
Thank goodness somebody is finally getting tough on Big Bird. It's about time. We didn't know that Big Bird was driving the federal deficit. But that's what we heard last night.
And in all seriousness, Judge, PBS released a statement today, and they said, quote, "We are very disappointed that PBS became a political target in the presidential debate last night. Governor Romney does not understand the value of American people placed on public broadcasting and the outstanding return on investment the system delivers to our nation. The federal investment in public broadcasting equals about 1/100th of 1% of the federal budget. Elimination of funding would have virtually no impact on the nation's debt, yet the loss of the American public would be devastating." In all seriousness, there are some people who say that that was not the best thing to mention bringing up Big Bird.
Well, look, you're talking to somebody who does like PBS, but who believes that the Constitution means what it says. Lyndon Johnson persuaded a Democratic Congress in 1965 that the federal government should own a television station, which became a television network. It's not authorized in the Constitution. It's not intended for the federal government to do this. When Mitt Romney put his finger on that, I'm thinking to myself, this is a symbol. This is a symbol of thousands of other things that the federal government is doing and borrowing money in order to do that Mitt Romney might stop if he becomes the president, at the price of offending Big Bird.
With Romney on the rebound, I think Big Bird ought to worry. Thanksgiving is coming up.
That was a good bounce back after the non-answer in the first panel. All right.
I didn't want to leave that one at the bottom of the staircase.
Okay. All right. That's it for the panel.